now. I'm going to hit start recording. It feels good that I can just trust that this is going to work.
Yeah.
It's a good
when
life.
OBS tells you source trust, and it does, and you can trust it. That feels good.
You can trust this source.
It feels great when you can hear someone say, "It came to me in a dream," and it said, "Oh, it must be true." Is this a tier list of every Wii game?
I don't know if it's every Wii game, but I figure we could just do it off of the ones that we care about. And we can do like a never played or like a wanted to play but never got to, or
I think we should do an impressions just based off of the ideas they represent.
but so the reason that I'm specifically choosing this as the tier list that we're looking at, I was on Facebook earlier today, as one does, and
Yes.
somebody, or no, it was on Reddit. The guy uploaded his take on the tier list, and it was wild how incorrect he was. So
Did he really like Eminem's kart racing over Eminem's Adventure? Because that's unforgivable.
yeah, that was the problem.
Over Shrek 2, the musical.
Yes, that was the problem. Man, there's a lot of Just Dance on here. I'll do good vibes for Dokapon Kingdom. It looks like I could have fun with it, but I will never play it.
Samba de Amigo. I think it's probably not a game I would have fun playing, but I also appreciate the vibes it has, and for being like a revived Dreamcast game that, didn't need to be revived because it wasn't going to sell well regardless. But I appreciate the effort in doing something with the Wiimote.
Okay.
There'll be many vibes, I think, on this list.
Yeah. I didn't actually play a ton of Wii games. I really just wanted to make up for what this other person did that was incorrect.
Let's say De Blob. That is not a game I have played. It is not a game I intend to play anytime soon. But like the others, it is a vibe game in the sense that it looked cool when I was a kid and I liked the aesthetic. And if I went back to it, I'd realize it was a Wii game and like a tech demo converted into a Wii game.
So I have opinions on De Blob. I have played it.
Do tell.
Joe had it. I was so unimpressed with that game. I was going to put it in D tier. We couldn't figure out what the point of the game was. And when Splatoon first came out, I had like bad flashbacks to this really boring game about just painting. I'm okay with putting it in good vibes because I'm also trying to recollect a memory from like 2008.
I will trust your D opinions because this seems like a kind of game that in practice doesn't get much higher than that.
07 for De Blob. Shut up. I could technically talk about Wii Fit, but who cares? Animal Crossing City Folk. For a Wii game, it's S tier. For an Animal Crossing game, it's like A or B tier.
I see. How does it compare with Wild World and New Leaf?
It is Wild World.
Okay.
It's not as good as New Leaf in terms of all the features that New Leaf has, but it has more interesting dialogue with the villagers. So it depends on what your priorities are with an Animal Crossing game.
Let's see. Could you scroll down a little bit?
Sure.
Let's see if I can find something.
I see a game that you've played. Oh, okay, yeah. We need to talk about Guitar Hero 3.
In terms of gameplay, it was a Guitar Hero game that had not strayed or lost its way. I will give it an A rank based on that. In terms of being a middle schooler at the right place in the right time, it is S tier. Because there is no song that will live in your head like Through the Fire and Flames in a video game. That is a video game set piece. There is no way around that.
This is also the game that had Devil Went Down to Georgia Hard Rock Edition.
Yes.
This, in my personal opinion, is the best Guitar Hero game.
I think it is the peak of Guitar Hero as far as my interest in the series goes. Because this is like when it was actively competing with Rock Band.
Yeah.
But not like trying to replicate what Rock Band was doing.
You just cursed your Guitar Hero guitars earlier today. What does that mean? Like,
Were you playing Clone Hero and getting mad that your USB guitar wasn't what it used to be?
or did you stub your toe on it and yell some obscenities at it?
Did you get mad because your Wii Guitar Hero controller split in half?
So Hannah and her sister still have their Guitar Hero 4 copy for the Wii and
Hmm.
all their peripherals and everything, and we played it over Thanksgiving. And I completely forgot how finicky it was to jam a Wiimote in that thing. They fell out of their box and thought, I don't think my kids are ever going to play this game.
That hurts.
Yeah, that a little piece of me died with that
Oh
comment.
sevens in chat for Guitar Hero.
What is with you and the 07s?
So it's a high C game. It's good with whiskey.
I don't know about high C and whiskey. That sounds like a flavor combo.
Okay. I meant vodka. I was trying to remember what booze he was telling us. Mario and the Sonic at the Olympic Games.
You are not picking the game that I just feel like you should be picking, but go
What,
on.
Carnival Games? The game that I will spite forever?
No, just say what you want to say about Mario and Sonic at the Olympic. Which one? The
Let's
first
go with
one?
the first one.
This is the only one I've played. I have played.
Okay.
We have that game, both of them, but there's 3 because you also have the
London
Winter
is not a
Games.
real place. You cannot tell me. That's like saying Mario and Sonic go into the back rooms.
You just said that with such confidence. It just reminded me of this meme that I saw the other day where it was Olive Garden is so good it makes me wish Italy was real. If we're going to give it an entire tier up just because you can do gymnastics with Eggman, then we have to go and find the Olympic Games that has Wario riding a horse.
Okay. Mario Party 3.
That's not no. It was one of the. I'm pretty sure it was London.
Wario found a horse in London.
You know what? I'm gonna rank it. I never got to play it, but good impressions.
Very much so. I believe that it is a game
I'm gonna just
for
move
gamers,
the sequel as well.
by gamers.
2
Gamer
gamers.
tested, gamer approved.
Yeah. No, I've been heavily debating buying these 2 on Steam just to say that I got to play No More Heroes without the wanking.
I appreciate that it fast forwarded through one of the characters' tragic and messed up backstories just so they could avoid getting an increase in rating in the game.
And I have a Nintendo bias. The Wii came out not to make Bugie feel bad or anything, but the Wii came out when I was 11. So
We were but you lads at the time.
Yeah, I was kind of all about it. You got City Folk as a wedding gift.
Oh man.
That's awesome. I bought my Wii with 2 milk jugs filled with coins that I dug out from a couch over the span of a year.
Mm-hmm. My dad was gracious and let us stand outside of a Toys R Us for an hour on a Sunday morning so that I could have a Wii on launch day. It was a very special experience with him, and it is one I know that I don't know if he regrets, but he does question from time to time, I have to imagine. Wii Sports Resort. We need to talk about the original Wii Sports. I never went into Wii Sports Resort, but Wii Play and Wii Sports are very important games.
Yeah. It's weird because I was actually I watched a Nintendo Wii retrospective by a content creator that I really like. And he holds that Wii Sports Resort is better than Wii Sports. Which I don't think I agree with.
I feel like if I went back to them now, I'd be much kinder to Wii Sports Resort because I never gave that game the proper time of day when I was a kid.
I'm gonna put Wii Sports at S tier.
Okay.
The only things like the games that I like on there are bowling, tennis, and golf.
Mm-hmm.
And like
bowling was a perfect experience.
The only thing I don't like about it is that it didn't have Wii Motion Plus. That's the only downside I can really say. I like Woohoo Island, and I liked fencing and ping pong, but
I never got the Switch Sports. They made that into a game, but it wasn't ready on launch. So
right.
a lot of it wasn't there. I should pick that up before I forget.
I'm gonna also put the Metroid trilogy on good vibes. I have Metroid Prime on the Switch, and I have every intention of playing it. Um,
But
I
we'll
just
get
I
there when we get there.
well I haven't played it, so I can't
Yeah.
in good faith rank it, but it's on
Mhm.
good vibes. My Wii Fit board fell out of its box about a month ago. That thing is a waste of space. We can let Bugie rate Wii Fit. What tier does Wii Fit go into?
Mhm.
It goes into W. We don't have a W, man.
Let's go into
You
bad.
know what? Just for you, add a row below. You can't read it.
Unspeakable tier.
There we go. It's in W tier. Real quick, I'm gonna just put this in F tier. Okay. That game was so
There was
bad.
only one good Sonic game on the Wii. That was Colors, and it's the one I didn't play.
I didn't play it. I didn't play Black Knight either. I played a little bit of Unleashed, and it was okay. It was maybe like a D tier. I loved Super Mario Wii just for the nostalgia. It kind of sucked otherwise.
Mhm.
I that I was already burnt out on New Super Mario Brothers by the time it got onto the Wii, just because I realized it was just the DS game. But again, yeah, I don't think I played more than like 2 or 3 worlds of it. I kind of got bored of it because I played so much of the DS game, and I
Mhm.
thought the DS game was tighter.
It is a perfectly fine game because the DS one was a fantastic game, and
Yeah.
that did not match those heights. Mario Kart Wii. That's not a game I played a lot of, but it is a game I have respect for. I think I'm willing to put that in A tier. Do you have any disagreement towards that?
If you asked me when I was younger, I would have said it
Uh
doesn't deserve to be an A tier.
huh.
It has aged like a fine wine in my mind, especially
Okay.
because you don't have to play with a Wiimote.
Mhm.
Um, for some reason, and it might be because I tried exclusively playing with a Wiimote, and so I just had
Yeah.
a bad experience with it. But
Mhm.
playing it, you know, I don't know, gosh, like 6 or 7 years ago, I
Yeah.
played on a GameCube controller at my cousin's
Mhm.
house, and I was like, why did I hate this game so much? This is fine. Like, there's better
Mhm.
Mario Karts, but the Wii one's good.
Uh huh.
I mean, it's kind of like It's like pizza. There's a bad Mario Kart is still a Mario Kart,
Yeah.
except for the arcade games, and I'm sure the iPhone games probably not that great. I'm just gonna do this easy one real
Casually
quick,
put that
just
in
kind of
S tier.
casually. Yeah.
Okay, I have no complaints about
Twilight
that.
Princess is such a good game. The beginning kind of sucks. I like the beginning as a human. It's just the beginning wolf levels suck.
It
But
took me a little while to like get around to being a wolf, but when you got control over both, when it didn't feel like it was just messing up the pacing just cuz,
yeah,
that's
like
when it started feeling good.
halfway through, or maybe not even halfway, maybe like a third of the way through, the wolf started becoming okay. But the first few times that you're a wolf, it wasn't for me.
Mhm.
But everything else
I
about that
will
game
say
is.
it has the best dungeon because the spinner dungeon is peerless.
It also has a really good water dungeon.
Yeah,
Uh,
I didn't mind the water dungeon in that game.
it also has chicken men with nipples. So
Yes, yes, it does.
you know what? Now that I think about it, I need to move it down a tier. Just gonna move this up here real quick. There we go. That is a perfect
Okay.
video game. There is nothing
I
that
regret not playing more of Galaxy 2. I think I played a friend's copy through a few levels, but never more than that.
it took everything that Super Mario Galaxy did and made it one notch better.
Okay.
And when I was like, I don't know, I think this came out when I was 14, 15, maybe 16, but I thought it was a bad game because it was just more Super Mario Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when I got to college, I revisited it because I only played like a quarter of it when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And then I revisited it in college, and I think I beat it over the span of 2 days because in my head, it clicked like, wait, why would I be mad that it's more Super Mario Galaxy? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so personally, for some reason, so one of the things that I saw on that other tier list that the incorrect guy had was he put
Uh-huh.
Super Mario Galaxy at S tier, and then he put Super Mario Galaxy 2 at A tier. Galaxy
Mm-hmm.
2 is better than Galaxy 1. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people want to say that Galaxy 1's better because it came up with the idea, and Galaxy 2 just like, no. If you had to pick one to play, Galaxy 2 is objectively the better game. So Galaxy 1 and 2 sucked an entire Christmas break each for Bu. Um, when I was in college, which I did 6 years for my undergrad because I changed majors 3 years in, and so I basically had to repeat undergrad. My buddy and I, every Christmas break and summer break, we would blast through as much of Galaxy, Galaxy 2, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess we could. So I've probably 100%ed both of the Galaxy games at least 5 times. Oh, and Super Mario Sunshine was in that
Mm-hmm.
as well. I think if you want Galaxy 2 to be Galaxy 1, you might be disappointed. If you view them separately, they're both great. See, I think Galaxy 2 is just, it's basically DLC if DLC was a bigger component than the base game, because there was just so much Galaxy 2.
It's the Brood War to Galaxy 1 StarCraft.
Like, I'm not going to tell you, like, what opinions you should or should not have, even though I'm going to tell you that objectively Galaxy 2 is better than Galaxy 1, so, like, take that for what it's worth. But,
But mostly just take that. Xenoblade Chronicles, because that's an interesting one for me. That had a mystique for a very long time for me.
Yep.
And as someone who hasn't really gotten anywhere near finishing it, both as a game I borrowed from you for years without touching, and as a game that I bought again as a as a Switch title, and sort of got progress in, but I haven't touched in a little bit, so I should get back at some point. It's a big ass RPG. It's a big ass game in a time when I don't make time for big ass games so often. And that's a dang shame because from what I played, it's good. It is the best of the good. It's one of the best of its kind.
So, I'm going to ask you to hold off on giving a letter because I have opinions on it as well that I would like to voice real quick. And then we could do like a 3, 2, 1 countdown on what we would rank it as. Shoddy, because we grew up together. I've known him, just for context to people in chat, we've known each other since first grade. He moved away from the town that I grew up in third grade. So we knew each other for about 2 years in person. He moved because his dad was in the army, and then we just hung out throughout summers and winters. Like, we would see each other basically twice a year and then just keep in contact with each other.
Yes, made a point of maintaining the friendship.
Yeah.
One I'm grateful for.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then we were roommates in college when I went for my my remixed bachelor's degree. But he was always kind of like my nerd culture friend. I didn't have a lot of nerdy friends growing up, but he was the one that knew all the obscure anime and games and stuff like that. I need 1 minute. My dog is apparently about to break the door down, and he's going to wake up my daughter. So I'll be right back.
In the meantime, I shall regale you on the story that I will think of right now. I was an army brat. I had moved from many places. I had been in a small town in Illinois. I had been in a large town in Italy. And then I was in a small town in Texas. And then I hung out with some people. And I wasn't really in small towns, like, aside from there, unless you're counting, like, North Carolina, when I was but a wee babby in a helicopter. But Texas was a place that I spent a lot of time in. And it was a place I was happy to call home. And then I moved to another part of Texas, and it wasn't home, but it was still Texas. So I didn't really know how to feel about that, and I'm kind of still have mixed feelings on the subject there, because it was like, well, is it home or not? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, it wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I'm just kind of dealing with it. And that's how it was for a while. And if there's a through line to all of this, it's that you never really know where you stand with a place when you're an army brat. Because, like, if you're supposed to put your roots somewhere, you could have been uprooted after the fact, and you just don't know where you are with that anymore anyway. My point is, I have a college degree, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And that's a little scary for me. Maybe I'll figure it out in the next couple of years. But right now, I have done what I've always done, and that's trying to get another college degree, and another one, and another one.
I hope I'm
not... That's right. Got to catch them all. Got to get my MBA, or else I can't build a competitive Pokemon team.
Yeah, I guess once you get your PhD, the MBA is the only thing you have left.
Do you know what something that like gave me a scare when I went to my doctor's office earlier this year?
Hmm.
He asked me, "Hey, do you ever consider about getting a medical degree?" And I was like, "Excuse me."
um,
We were talking about Xenoblade
yes.
and how
So,
you like the dog in that game.
right. Yeah.
The
Um,
A's ornery 80-pound husky.
I remember Shoddy was always talking about it when we were kids. And by kids, I mean like, I don't know, high schoolish age. It
That
was
would have been
like,
high school.
yeah, but it just wasn't ever something that really appealed to me back then
Hmm.
for whatever reason. And then I remember I got to college and I just happened to go to a GameStop one day and he was talking about how they weren't printing Xenoblade anymore, and it was so impossible to find. And I walked into my GameStop, and they had a sealed copy of it for $25 on the Wii, and I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, well, if this thing's about to become like a super rare collector's item, I'm just gonna pick it up. Screw it." So I
Hmm.
bought a copy of it, and I never opened it because I intended it to be kind of like a collector's copy. And then when we ended up being roommates the second time I was in college, he I lent it to him, just being like, you know what? Like, I'd rather it get played than it just get it collecting dust on a bookshelf somewhere. So I lent it to him to play, but he was too busy playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, so he never got
I
around to.
enjoyed that game. I think it's a flawed game, but it's one I enjoyed.
Yeah, but then they made the remake on the 3DS, and so I was like, oh well, I play my 3DS way more than I never have my Wii U plugged in or anything, so I'll get the 3DS version. I could play it on campus. It'll be great. And then I bought it,
Hmm.
and the UI was so cluttered, I couldn't get into it. So I dropped it. And then they made the remake for the Switch, so I bought that. And then a year after I bought it, I was finally like sat down to play it, and I was so frustrated with that game until I got to one boss and I couldn't beat the boss until I was like, oh man, I have to grind like in every other JRPG, whatever. So I went and I grinded for a bit,
Hmm.
and I went back to the boss, and the intricacies of the combat system started kind of clicking, and then I just got so much momentum, which, again, new dad with like a 5 month old baby, momentum is I played for the entire hour a day that I had to play video games each night.
Hmm.
So I played it up until Super Mario RPG got released on the Switch. So I've been playing Super Mario RPG with the intention of once I beat it, I'm gonna play Xenoblade Chronicles. I have a ranking for it. I don't if you have your ranking, Shoddy.
I can't really give it a ranking beyond vibes at the moment, but
Oh, okay.
I'll defer to what you have to say.
The only thing I can't rank it on is like story payoff. But
Uh-huh.
the way that the story's going right now, I'm super into it. The only reason I don't know if I would want to put it in S is if the story ends up not paying off in the way that I think it's going to.
I need you to watch this video and exactly this video because if this is like the extent of what I get from Xenoblade, I'm fine with it.
What? You're a lifesaver. Oh yeah.
Okay. I just think of it's Rhine time all the time. I'm gonna confidently put it in an S tier.
Okay then.
I might not.
I put it in high A tier for now just because neither of us can like are getting the story payoffs yet. And our relationship is kind of like built on versions with slightly better UI and scaling and features.
That's fair. And I haven't played the Wii version. I would feel I there might come a point where a couple months from now I feel silly that I put it in A tier, but it's
Hmm.
fine. This is our December 20th of 2023 ranking. Pokemon Battle Revolution.
It was disappointing. It wasn't Pokemon Stadium. It didn't have mini games.
It's an F tier game.
As much as it pains me, I will not dispute this.
It was a game to plug your DS into to watch 3D battles. I'm gonna kind of go speed round for a couple games if you're okay with that.
Please do, please do.
Just because it would be nice if we actually got to finish this to some degree.
Mhm.
Wii Music is worse than, or it's funnier than Sonic and the Secret Ring, so I'll put it up there.
I'm
Uh,
fine with that. I heard it was it had a better commercial than it was a game, and that's a
yes,
shame.
WarioWare Smooth Moves. This is the best party game ever made. I don't know if it's S tier.
I regret not playing more multiplayer WarioWare.
I think it might go below Wii Sports Resort.
Okay, then. I'm fine with that.
Super Paper Mario, from what I remember of it, I would put it here. We Play.
It had tanks.
That's the only reason it goes even remotely high, and Tanks really carries it. I think it's better than Super Mario Brothers Wii.
That's fine. It
Tanks
had something
is-
going for it. It felt inspired, and Super Mario Brothers Wii had Nabbit. Aren't you so happy to see Nabbit?
Was Nabbit even in this one? I thought he was in the Wii U one.
He probably was, but he's so forgettable. He goes backwards in time. No one notices.
Again, I need to stress this so anybody watching the recording or anything. The only reason that this is above an F tier is because of Tanks. I replayed We Play with my brother-in-law over Thanksgiving break. Tanks is almost a perfect video game. The only reason I don't have it higher up is because I can't justify paying $50 just to play Tanks. But
Tanks is a perfect WiiWare game, but it's not. But it's on a physical disc, and that's
that cost $50. Even though you did get a Wiimote, it was still a $50 video game.
Yes.
That's the only
if you
reason.
got it used, you wouldn't get the Wiimote.
Okami goes in good vibes.
IGN logo
actually,
is key.
It goes in good impressions because
Yes.
wait.
Did we ever rent it, or did we not ever manage to rent it, or did you
No.
convince? Yeah.
We never rented it. I have it on Switch. I need to play it. Metroid Trilogy also goes in good impressions because I have every intention. Good impressions, I think, means that I have intentions of playing it, whereas good vibes is I don't have intentions of playing it.
You know what? This tier list upsets me. Where is the Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and/or 3?
Oh man, I forgot those games existed.
They're coming back.
We need to talk about these two games.
Okay, then.
Before the night is over, these two have to get talked about. But I'm going to force a game on you because you still haven't picked it yet, and I'm mad at you for it.
Okay. All right.
Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. You have to talk about Fire Emblem.
I have not owned this game. I owned Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, and I played one mission of Radiant Dawn.
I
But
thought
I have
this was the one that
on
you.
Radiant Dawn.
I thought this was the one that you had. I didn't realize. Yeah, because you had the GameCube one, right?
Yeah.
I thought you had the Wii one.
A friend of mine still owns my copy of it, and it's the only reason it wasn't stolen during a house break-in.
The raid.
Yeah.
Which
no
I think
Shadow Legends there.
I think I lost video games in the raid.
You did. You lost your copy of Tales of Symphonia that I borrowed from
That
you.
was the game that I lost. That's right. I couldn't. I might have also lost my copy of Melee. I feel like I don't know how I lost my copy of Melee, but I have my case, but I don't have the disc. Donkey Kong Returns goes in good impressions.
It is a game that is better on a console that is not the Wii, and by that I mean it is good on a Dolphin.
That or the 3DS or playing Tropical Freeze, because apparently that's just an improved version of this game.
Did you know I own Tropical Freeze for the Wii U, but I have never played it? I got it on sale at a GameStop and just did nothing with it. I just have it.
Did you know that I have Tropical Freeze on the Switch because I got it for $10 randomly, and I had every intention to play it, and just other stuff comes up?
Yeah.
Because
stuff comes up, and then Funky Kong can't get you out of your funk.
Yeah. I keep hearing that it's an awesome platformer, but then I'm just like, yeah, but I don't want to play a platformer right now. And Donkey Kong was never like my
jam.
Well, not that.
I was never
just
a country boy.
I was more of a Mario game player than a Donkey Kong. Like, I never played the Donkey Kong Country games on SNES. I think I played level 1, testing out my Super Nintendo Classic, and that's all of any Donkey Kong game I've ever played.
Let's talk about Galaxy.
Okay.
Because Brawl was an experience. Leading up to Brawl, the year leading up to Brawl was an experience.
Yeah, I have to make
the Smash
a video.
Brothers Dojo was peerless.
I have to talk about Smash Brothers Dojo at some point on a YouTube video because it's like you and I could talk about that. I mean, to me, we're gonna talk about Galaxy. We'll get back to
Yes.
it. Galaxy is the progenitor of the formula, but it's not as
Mhm.
good as its sequel.
Yeah.
To call it a proof of concept is very much belittling it. I am not going to go that far.
Uh-huh.
It set a foundation for Super Mario Galaxy 2 to just run with and just
Mhm.
go crazy. My personal opinion is it's tied with Zelda Twilight Princess.
I'm fine with that.
I don't
I would put it a
know.
little bit above,
Yeah.
but I'd say yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think if I could only play one or the other, I would probably play Super Mario Galaxy. Just the replayability of Super Mario Galaxy is higher than Twilight Princess.
Mhm.
But I think even first play experiences, I think I had a better time with Galaxy than Twilight Princess. This was a great one-time experience, whereas this was a game where once I beat it, I was like, I'm going to play it again. I just don't have much to say because anything that I could say about Galaxy, the only thing I could say is Galaxy 2 does it better. Also, we need to talk about soundtracks because these games have such good soundtracks. It's unreal
I
how good these soundtracks are.
Everyone points to the Gusty Garden Galaxy as being amazing, and it is. But I feel like the rest of the soundtrack is underrated by comparison.
The Honey Hive Galaxy is one of my favorite songs ever written, and it made
Hmm.
it like I remember going to the computer class that I had in 8th grade where
Uh-huh.
we were being taught how to use like Excel and stuff, and I would open up GarageBand in the free time that I had in that class trying to recreate the Honey Hive Galaxy with the preset tracks that they had in GarageBand
Hmm.
because they had like little funky guitar riffs and stuff, and I so wanted to recreate it because that song was just such a jam.
Wario Land Shake It for having hand-drawn animation for sprites in a lot time when a lot of games didn't do that, and most people would not put in the effort to do so. Good impressions.
I'll probably put it at the Joe had this game, and I played a
Hmm.
bit of it, and I just remember feeling like it was a Wario Land game that I got really sick of having to use the Wii Motion on
Yeah.
to play.
Dojo was basically a once-a-day update. They gave you info on the game. And that sounds basically like what a Twitter feed does nowadays. That's what like you get for like updates on a day. But this was like in-depth stuff, and this could be like snippets of the soundtrack, new stages, or that's how you also learned about new characters.
Yeah,
They didn't make like full trailers except for the really special characters, like exactly Sonic. Because like once they revealed Solid Snake, anything could happen.
yeah.
That was the reveal after that E3. We realized anyone could be here. Before everyone was here, you didn't know if anyone could be here.
Solid Snake showing up in a trailer for Super Smash Bros. Brawl is the reason that the meme about Goku being in Super Smash Bros. Exists. Because once they announced Solid Snake, because I mean, you have to keep in mind the Budokai Tenkaichi games were massive by this point. So like
Mhm.
the idea of them bringing Goku to Smash Brothers, nobody would have even entertained that idea. And then they put Solid Snake.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Goku kind of makes sense all of a sudden. Like,
Hey, what about Sora? Like, yeah, that could happen, and then it did.
yeah,
20 years later.
as literally the last character to ever be added to a Smash Brothers game.
Yeah.
He finally made it.
Mhm.
But
It what's like 1 degree of removal. It means that sorry, let me put this into words. Ryu and Mickey Mouse have 1 degree of separation.
that's true.
The
uh,
world's strongest fighters. Have you
uh,
seen the voice actor for Ryu reenact Ryu from Streets? Have
no,
you seen Ryu from Streets?
no. That's probably a tangent for another day.
This is true.
Just because Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the Smash Dojo, like that for me
Hey
was
there, everybody. This is Ryu
So I'm still in the watch party.
Okay. We can watch Rear from Streets later, but I want you to know it's there, staring at you.
I'm gonna hit pause on that.
Mhm.
So the thing for me, because like yeah, the dojo was like this super cool time capsule where like if you thought the release of the characters coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was a big deal, the one for Brawl was it was unreal that there was this website that you could go to and get live updates on what was coming to this game. It was I mean it was the Smash Brothers version of how Cerebi was, because you and I would check Cerebi all the time for what was coming
Yeah,
up
for
in
like
the next Pokemon game.
yeah, look for Pokemon leaks. Look for potential images of fake Pokemon because they were drawn by artists who didn't usually draw Pokemon.
Or like whenever the Pokemon would first be released in Japanese and you wouldn't
Yeah,
know
that's
what the Pokemon were going to be called, so then you would just update it every day to be like, okay, do we have English names yet?
mhm.
But the dojo was this really cool thing where and it's special for me specifically, and like I think for our friendship, because again, like you moved away when we were in the third grade. The Wii came out when we were in sixth grade, and this game came out when we were in like seventh or eighth grade. And it
Yes.
was kind of we had reasons to call each other and talk, but this
Uh-huh.
gave us a reason to at least once a week have something to talk about for long swaths of time, because you and I would just theory craft on what this game was going to be. And then
Yeah.
I don't know if this came out before or after Mario Kart Wii, but you and I didn't really play Mario Kart Wii
I never owned the
online.
game. No.
Okay, so I owned it, but I didn't really play a ton
Yeah.
of it. But you and I actually did play Smash Brothers Brawl online, and that was the first time that you and I played a game like in our own houses with each other that wasn't on a computer. Because like we played RuneScape and Mabinogi together, but this was the first time where it was like I'm sitting in my room instead of at the family computer, and I'm playing with my best friend who lives 200 miles away from me.
Yeah.
Like that was this and I mean the connection sucked, and like we didn't have voice chat, so we would call each other on the phone, and we'd just gotten a wireless phone in our house, so I would call you, I'd run to my room, I'd turn the Wii on, I'd wait the like 10 minutes to like get into a lobby to play with you, and then like half of the match was just lagging out like crazy. But it was this kind of novel thing of video games are going to be different. Like that was the start for me of they're bigger than just this thing that I go to GameStop for, buy, and then like play to death. It's now this interactive thing that I have with my friends where before the games come out, I get coverage online. The developers want me to know about this game that they're making, and I get to talk about it with my friends months before it comes out. And then when the game does come out, I don't have to drive across the state that I live in just to play the game with my friend like I did on the GameCube. I can just turn the game on, and instead of playing once a week in the summer and then once a week in the winter, we can play in October, we can play in January, we can play whenever. Like
Yeah. And in theory, we could do that with like the DS Yu-Gi-Oh and the DS Pokemon games, but that didn't always work out for whatever reason. I would have said a lot of like the being able to play remotely. Some of that started with Mario Kart, but getting the Wi-Fi to work on DS was a trial, and it was one you and I had figured out by the time the Wii had been out for a little bit.
well
But
and
like that was when Wi-Fi was not like a standard feature in homes.
well and I
And
didn't
that might be an alien thought for some of y'all.
well and I didn't have Mario Kart DS until way into the DS lifespan, because
Mhm.
the only time I would ever play it was when you and I would be hanging out, and I would just do DS download play.
That was also an incredible feature at the time.
I looking back on the DS, that was such a magical console. I love the
Mhm.
DS, and hindsight has only made it more beautiful.
And
But
I'm sad they didn't do more download play for 3DS games. So I understand why. Like the stuff they had to download was a lot bigger.
yeah, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I probably wouldn't play it over. I think it's better than the Wii U version of Smash, and it's better than the N64 version of Smash. But I would probably pick Melee and It's different than Melee because Melee's faster, but there are parts of Brawl that I like a lot more than Melee, like the character roster.
Mhm.
Ultimate is the ultimate. Like I can't think of playing any Smash Brothers over Ultimate for any reason
Mm.
really, but
Yeah.
this is the one that I'll think of the most fondly because of the dojo, because of the experience leading up to it, and because this was really the first game that wasn't an MMO or StarCraft that I
Mhm.
got to play online. It just and for people who had like Xboxes and they were playing Halo 2 with their friends, I didn't get to do that. I didn't
Mhm.
have an Xbox for one. I
Mhm.
also didn't have the ability to play rated M games. My debate is I don't know if I would put it above Super Mario Galaxy 1.
I feel like where it is fine. I don't think as a standalone game it's better than Super Mario Galaxy, but as an experience, I think it is irreplaceable. And I want you to know that I was scrolling through YouTube like while you were talking about Brawl, and I found a Goku moveset V0.9.5 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate mod while you were talking.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, it doesn't.
Also, isn't Brawl the one that Project M is based on?
Yes, and I believe there is a Goku in that.
Yeah, that doesn't
There are
surprise
many
me at all.
Gokus, just like Fighter Z.
Oops, all Gokus. Um, I'm actually gonna put it above Super Mario Galaxy because this is my tier list. Technically
Okay.
our tier list, but the impact that this game had impacted me more than Galaxy 1. The impact that Galaxy 1 had on me was how revolutionary it felt when it first came out, and the fact that
Uh-huh.
it spawned this game. I think this game is still a better video game than Brawl, but I want to pay respects to just how much of a cultural milestone this was, even if just in our little circle of the two of us.
I'm fine with that.
Um, I also just realized they didn't have Monster Hunter Tri,
Wow, that's
which I didn't play, but I always wanted to play it, and I just never got my hands on it as a kid. uh,
mhm.
which I probably would have hated it back then. Okay, well, real quick, this is the Quarter Life Burnouts Extra Shoddy Wii tier list.
Missing
Every
a couple games.
Yeah, because it's not in the tier list. All this is stuff that we literally just can't talk about because we don't know enough about it. I
Uh-huh.
might have been able to rank this one, but I just don't really remember it. Um,
Uh-huh.
actually, we need to put this on Good Vibes
Mhm.
because this was what spawned Two Best Friends Play.
It does have very good vibes, and I just haven't played enough enough of it to give it, proper rating.
Well, and again, we wouldn't have had Two Best Friends Play without it. So
It's true. It's
to
true.
me, and I guess technically this game was the follow up. So
It was. It was. It
yeah,
was just the era, and they were good games in the era.
yeah. But all right. I think with that, I'm gonna end the stream.